My life took an unimaginable turn when I discovered the truth about my identity. I will never forget the day everything fell apart. The morning began like any other, but as soon as I stepped outside, a chill gripped the air, and the sky loomed gray. Rain battered the pavement, each drop like a tiny hammer smashing down on my already fragile spirit. I clutched my phone tightly, trembling, feeling the weight of unfulfilled dreams pressing heavily on my chest. I had always felt different, a sense of detachment from my family, my friends. They were all smiles and laughter, while I lingered in the shadows, searching for something I couldn't quite name. Then came the call. My grandmother, frail yet feisty, had summoned me to her home. Her voice crackled through the receiver, urgent and low. My heart raced with fear and curiosity. What could she want to tell me that she couldn't say over the phone? As I entered her modest living room filled with dusty books and mismatched furniture, my senses were overwhelmed by the scent of lavender, and something ancient secrets lay thick in the air. Her hands trembled as she reached for mine, the world around us fading into a murmur. "You have to know the truth, sweetheart," she whispered, eyes wide with a mix of fear and excitement. The words that came next felt like lightning striking me, searing into my brain. I had always believed I was just a regular girl, raised in a small town, cradled with love. But the truth? I was the daughter of someone powerful, someone entwined in shadows and mysteries I had never understood. "The day you were born, it was a night of strange happenings. Your father, he was not what he seemed," she continued, her voice trembling with emotion. I could feel my heart pounding, pulse racing. Was this real? A lump formed in my throat, stifling my breath as I battled disbelief. My mind whirled with images, whispers in the dark, secret gatherings, faces masked in secrecy. I recalled tales my friends spun, of adventure and intrigue, not realizing I was part of a hidden story waiting to unfurl. The rain started pounding harder against the roof, thundering like my heartbeat. Each drop echoed my confusion and fear. Could I really trust her? Or was this some elaborate ruse? Just then, the door burst open, letting in a gust of wind that sent my grandmother's papers flying. We both turned to see a figure standing in the doorway, shrouded in darkness but eyes glinting with familiarity. My breath hitched, and as our eyes locked, I felt something deep inside awaken. Who was this stranger, and what connection did they have to the truth my grandmother was revealing? The air charged with tension. I was on the edge of something monumental, my life poised to rip apart and explode in a whirlwind of revelations. What did it all mean? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. A silence filled the room, thick and heavy, as if the very walls were mourning the weight of the truth that loomed unseen. The figure in the doorway took a step forward, the light from the hallway casting a long shadow across the floor that seemed to touch everything it passed. My heart raced, my mind teetering on the precipice of a cliff I never wanted to stand upon. "Who are you?" I managed, my voice breaking beneath the tension that crackled in the air between us. The stranger's lips curled into a faint smile, a mixture of warmth and guarded secrets swirling in their expressive eyes. "I've waited a long time to see you again, Amelia," they said, and the softness in their tone soothed me for a mere moment before reality crushed it away. Amelia. That was my name, but it felt foreign in their voice, like an echo of a life I hadn't fully claimed yet. "How do you know me?" I whispered, wrestling with the confusing storm of emotions: fear, adoration, a reluctant curiosity. My grandmother's grip tightened around my hand, her eyes darting between me and the stranger. "You shouldn't be here, not yet," she warned, her voice a mixture of alarm and something deeper, something that tasted bitter and sweet all at once. "Too late for that," the stranger replied, stepping fully into the light, revealing tousled hair and an air that dripped with familiarity and danger. "My name is Alex, and I can help you understand everything. You deserve to know. Help me?" I scoffed, feeling a surge of protectiveness rise. Is that what this is? A twisted game that someone thought would be fun to play, Amelia, my grandmother pleaded, her gaze softening. There are forces that want to keep you in the dark. You need to hear Alex out. Why should I trust either of you? The words fell out in a rush, laced with years of confusion and fear. You tell me I'm special, that I'm part of something grand, and then in walks this person who claims to know me? What do any of you even know about me? A flicker of hurt flashed across Alex's face, but then it was gone, replaced by something resolute. You're stronger than you think. There are people who want you to reclaim who you are. For every bit of light in you, there's shadow waiting to embrace it. You were born into a legacy, Amelia. Enough. I snapped, my voice rising above the rain that still battered the house as if trying to drown out my anguish. I didn't ask for any of this. I want nothing to do with any legacy or power. Just leave me alone. In the painful silence that followed, I could almost feel the echoes of my own heart shattering, sending shards of despair scattering across every crevice of my being. I had broken the moment, pushed them away, in fear of what they might reveal. I didn't need a legacy, I needed some semblance of normalcy, something I could hold on to, a thread of hope in a world that was unraveling at an alarming pace. But as I turned away, suddenly longing for the solitude of my dimly lit room and the mundane concerns of school and friends, something caught my eye. Through the drumming rain on the window, I noticed a flicker of light, a single beacon cut through the gloomy haze. My heart leaped, grasping at the possibility that someone outside was reaching out for me, a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. Amy, wait. My grandmother's voice ricocheted through the room just as I was about to bolt for the door. Please. Torn, I hesitated, glancing back at both Alex and my grandmother, who bore a look of desperate pleading. As much as I wanted to flee, the flicker of light I had seen lingered in my thoughts, casting doubts on my instincts. Suddenly, the phone in my pocket buzzed, a sharp reminder that the world outside was still turning. It wasn't just my life that had been shaken. It was a text from an unknown number, a single line that sent chilling warmth down my spine. They're coming for you. You can't ignore them forever. With the weight of uncertainty hanging heavily above me, I stood at the precipice, desperate for an answer yet terrified of the truth. Could I truly face whatever shadows awaited me, or would I get lost in the darkness, never to find my way back to the light? The flickering light outside drew me like a moth to a flame, illuminating a darkness I wasn't ready to face. Yet the urgency in the message haunted me, paralyzing my thoughts. They're coming for you. Who were they? The shadows that whispered in the dark corners of my mind? Or was it something more tangible, a threat lurking just beyond the edge of my perception? I turned back to Alex, whose gaze now softened, as if somehow he understood the tempest raging inside of me. Amelia, you can't shut this out. Trust me, we can face this together. You're not alone. Why should I trust you? I shot back, my heart racing as every fight or flight instinct screamed at me to bolt. How do I know you won't lead me into a trap? Because there's no trap here, he said, stepping closer yet still cautious, as if mindful of the delicate ground we walked upon. Only the truth, and I promise you, nothing about it will change who you are at your core. You're not a monster, Amelia. You're part of something much bigger, something worth fighting for. My grandmother finally found her voice again, tranquility intertwined with worry. You're meant for great things, my dear. Sometimes the path to understanding can be filled with burdens, but it's the burdens that make us grow. Please, take a moment to consider what Alex is saying. Something shifted in the air, the tension was palpable. I wanted to scream again, to shatter the silence that clung like cobwebs around us. But amid the noise of my thoughts and emotions, Alex's determined stare held some sliver of reassurance. He was familiar, a piece of a puzzle I had yet to grasp. A light in the dark, I murmured, still torn between fear and curiosity. Exactly, he replied, his tone earnest. There's so much at stake. But first, we need to talk about your family. There are hidden truths within your lineage that could guide us to understanding these threats. I swallowed hard, my pulse quickening. My family? What do you mean? Your grandmother isn't the only one holding secrets. There are threads connecting you to a place, a world where legacies exist beyond your imagination. But there's danger balanced on the knife's edge of that inheritance. His eyes searched mine, trying to uncover the layers of my soul. Just as his words sank in, the shrill ring of the phone disrupted the moment, jarring me back to reality with an unsettling urgency. I fished it out of my pocket hesitantly, half expecting another cryptic warning. Instead, I was met with my friend Mia's name blaring across the screen. My heart twisted. Mia had been my anchor through hard times and the confessions of my heart. I answered it, the very act a hopeful tether to normalcy. Mia? Amelia. Her voice was frantic, crackling through the line. Are you okay? There are rumors flying around about you. I just heard. Mia. Wait, no, you don't understand. There's something going on. I was at the cafe when some guys were talking about Mia. I interrupted, bracing myself. You need to listen. There are things I can't explain right now. Can we meet? Yes. Please. I need to see you. It's about your dad. He spoke to someone, and now the line went dead, the echoes of her last words clinging in the air like a shroud. My heart plummeted at the mention of my father, gone too soon yet ever present in my thoughts. It felt as if the earth beneath me was shifting once again. I have to go, I stated, barely able to catch my breath. Amelia, no. My grandmother pleaded, desperation evident. You don't understand the risks. Before I could blink, I slipped past Alex, nearly colliding with my grandmother's cautious grip. I need to find my own truth, I called back. The last image of Alex's face was a haunting mix of worry and admiration as I dashed through the door, the rain drenching me almost instantly. But driven by instinct, I sought out the light that guided me. I realized then how deeply rooted my fears were, how the shadows of my past chased after me as I ran into the unknown. As I approached the cafe, the world around me spun wildly, the thrum of hope and danger intertwined into an intricate dance. I pushed through the door, a small bell chiming above me, catching the attention of the few patrons inside. But as my eyes searched for Mia, the realization settled like a heavy stone in my stomach. Perhaps I was not the only one looking for answers tonight. Standing at the far side of the cafe was a figure cloaked in shadow, a whisper of familiarity wrapping around me like the chill of the rain. My breath caught in my throat as I recognized the profile. It was someone I thought I'd never see again, someone whose presence promised answers but also ignited a fierce flame of dread. Amelia, they said, their voice low and melodic. We need to talk. You have no idea what you've stumbled into. The weight of their words pressed down on my chest, and as the shadows gathered around their form, I could only stand frozen at the brink of a truth that threatened to unravel everything I thought I knew. The air in the cafe felt electric, charged with the unspoken truth suspended between us. I tried to muster my voice, but it faltered, caught in my throat like a moth entangled in a web. As I squinted to scrutinize the figure, their features emerged from the gloom, a familiar yet alien face I had once known so intimately. It was Lila, my older sister, who had vanished years ago without a trace, leaving a gaping hole in our family and a tumult of unanswered questions. Lila? I whispered, as if speaking too loudly would shatter the fragile moment we shared. I was anchored by disbelief and hope, my heart craving the warmth of family yet recoiling at the inescapable pain that her return promised. Yes. I'm here, she spoke, her voice steady despite the chaos evident in my eyes. There's so much to explain, but we don't have time. They're looking for you, Amelia. I glanced around the cafe, the familiar faces of the patrons now transformed into strangers, blurs of unease in a painting that no longer felt safe. Who's looking for me? What are you talking about? The rapid-fire questions echoed in my mind, each one a pulse of anxiety and anger toward the universe for uprooting me again. Listen, Lila urged, her tone urgent. I didn't come back just to hide. I've been watching over you from afar. The truth is woven through our family's past, and it's darker than you can imagine. There are forces that want to control you because of who you are, what you are. I recoiled as a surge of emotions crashed over me. I wanted to shout, to rage at the injustices life had heaped upon us all. Opening up the wounds of our shared history felt dangerously intrusive, and yet, the need for connection drew me closer to her, threaded tight by unbreakable familial ties. I don't understand, I finally managed, gripping the edge of the table as if it might keep me grounded. What do you mean, what I am? You just disappeared, left me to deal with everything alone. Lila's expression softened. I was trying to protect you. Our past is entwined with powers that many would kill for. But I see now that running only ever led to more danger. I'm back because you need to know the truth before it consumes us both. The gravity of her words soaked into my skin, chill waves tugging at my heartbeat. Before what? What does that even mean? I could feel the weight of her presence, heavy with secrets and regret, almost suffocating. Just then, I noticed Mia enter the cafe, her bright eyes scanning the space. Relief surged through me, knowing that I wasn't alone, but it quickly faltered as I saw the worry etched on her face. Our eyes met, a silent conversation of fear and concern, and instinctively I motioned her to join us. Amelia, you have to come with me, Mia insisted, a frayed note in her voice. I overheard more at the cafe about a meeting happening tonight. They're linked to your family. With a sudden jolt, the weight of the world snapped into place. This was no isolated incident, there were threads reaching long beyond my personal struggle, knitting a tapestry of intrigue that wrapped around my family like a vice. My heart raced, navigating the unpredictable turns of fate as I took Lila's hand. Tell me everything you know. Before Lila could respond, the cafe door burst open and cold air rushed in, along with a figure cloaked in dark clothing. My instinct screamed, something wasn't right. I could feel it in my bones. Whispers swirled around me, shadows erupting with the very names that had haunted my dreams. The newcomer's gaze swept across the cafe, lingering on Lila, dread pooling in my stomach like lead. There you are, they purred, a sinister smile flashing. I've come for you. Amelia, present and past, collided in a violent flash. The warmth of family, the fears of the unknown, and the dawning realization that I had unknowingly walked directly into the storm I had tried so desperately to escape. Lila stepped protectively in front of me, and for a fleeting second, I felt that comforting mix of love and safety, but it faded into a haze of anticipation as a tension gripped the room. My heart ached, teetering on the precipice. One wrong move and everything we held dear could come crashing down. What do you want? I demanded, though my voice trembled, betraying my resolve. The figure chuckled, a sound that sent tendrils of fear creeping down my spine. You have something that belongs to us, and we simply cannot allow you to claim it as your own. I'd always thought the shadows were a fabrication of my overactive imagination. Now, they were breathing, living entities closing in. My journey through this labyrinth of uncertainty felt precarious, and with it came a terrifying truth. Far more lay at stake than I could have fathomed. As they advanced, the cafe faded from my memory. The world reduced to a throbbing beat, drowning out the voices of those trying to save me. The light that had once guided me felt dim, eclipsed by the encroaching darkness. In that moment, I realized the truth that would forever alter the course of my destiny. The battle had only just begun, and I was hopelessly caught in the eye of the storm. The cafe faded into a blur of muted colors and distorted sounds as the figure stepped closer, their intentions cloaked in shadows that loomed larger than the space around us. They were harbingers of doom, tightening the noose around my pulse, and I instinctively looked to Lila. The protector whom I had lost so long ago now stood before me, but I could see the weight of fear shrouding her gaze, her confidence chipped away by years of running from a past she had failed to outrun. Lila, what do we do? I murmured, panic rising in me like a storm tide. The familiar warmth of her hand had become a mere echo in the face of impending doom, and I could feel my heart clawing against my chest walls. Stay behind me. Whatever happens, don't let them take you, she urged, her voice firm yet tinged with an undercurrent of vulnerability that threatened to crack her confident facade. The figure tilted their head, amusement flickering in their eyes. Oh, how sweet. A little sister's devotion. But it won't save you from what's coming. Their words hung heavily in the air, heavy enough to crush my resolve. Mia's voice echoed in the turmoil, pulling me back to a flicker of hope amidst this encroaching dark. We need to go. Now. She shouted, pushing toward us with urgency, her chin set in determination. The barista, confused by the scene unfolding before their eyes, began to retreat from the cash register. Run! Lila shouted, pulling my arm, dragging me away from the table, but the shadowy figure was relentless, pivoting in our direction. Their hand flicked out, the air crackling as if charged with malevolence, and an invisible force knocked me off my feet. I hit the ground hard, breathless, my vision spinning as I scrambled to reclaim my footing. Instinct screamed for me to flee or run far from Lila, to escape this nightmare, but my heart tethered me to the tumult of emotions swirling within our fragile family unit. Mia was there, gripping my arm, and together we pushed away from the chaos. "We have to find a way out," she urged, her voice hardly a whisper, cloaked in urgency. Lila's silhouette loomed behind us, a solid shield against the shadow, but I could feel the threads of tension pulling taut, threatening to snap at any moment. My mind raced, reels of memories sparking to life in the depths of my mind. Flashes of laughter, warmth, and love intermingled with shadows of betrayal, fear, and unanswered questions. What was the truth that Lila spoke of? And why were these dark figures interested in me? "Amelia. I swear, I will protect you." Lila's voice broke through, saturated with a fierceness that sent shivers down my spine. Before I could process a response, footsteps thundered from the exit the figure was pursuing. The cafe seemed to morph around us, each heartbeat amplifying the claustrophobic silence looming over our movement. I could taste adrenaline on my tongue, each breath firing nerves that screamed for escape. I was back in that old familiar world of confusion, my heart thrumming a rhythm of fear through my veins. My family had always felt like a puzzle with missing pieces, and now it seemed the edges were closing in, trapping me in a shape I could not comprehend. Just as we found the shattered remnants of the back exit, a heavy hand gripped my a grip of iron that spun me around. Blue eyes, sharp with purpose and dark with knowledge, met mine. This was not the shadowy figure but another, someone different yet equally dangerous. "Don't be foolish, Amelia," they hissed, leaning in closer. "You need to know the truth. Your very existence is a key, and there are those who seek to control it. Get away from her." Lila screamed, halting them in their tracks, but instead of retreating, the new figure chuckled, a sound devoid of warmth. "You're all too late. Just as I found you, others will find you too." The finality of that statement gripped my heart, locking me in a state of paralyzing dread. My pulse quickened, the world narrowing until only the sound of my quickening breath remained. There was no escape, I could feel it deep down, crawling back into the recesses of my mind. As Lila surged forward, determination burning in her eyes, I felt her desperation seep into my veins, a frantic need to protect what remained. For years, I had been fighting the shadows of abandonment and confusion. Now, they were no longer just memories but tangible threats. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the cafe mic. The barista had knocked over the display case of pastries, shattering the momentary grip of reality. "Go. I'll hold them off," he yelled, but the bravado painted across his face bespoke his own fear. "No," I shouted, even as Lila pulled me back. The straining reality twisted into chaos. We had to make a choice, darting around broken glass and shattered dreams. My heart raced, urging the beat to sync with our fleeing limbs. Just as we thought we might escape, the figure raised their hand, a flicker of darkness flashing before my eyes. "Don't you remember, Amelia? Sometimes the truth can be more dangerous than the lies." The shockwave of shimmering energy pulsed outwards, and everything went dark, wrapping around me like a shroud. I felt Lila's grip slip from my side, my body breaking free from the tangible world as consciousness gnawed at the edges of my perception. The cafe faded away, replaced by the weight of uncertainty that pulled me into oblivion. And in the brief silence that enveloped me, a single thought crystallized with terrifying clarity: some secrets were meant to be buried, while others would claw their way into the light, no matter the cost. And then, darkness swallowed me whole. I awoke to the acrid scent of smoke and the sharp sting of light filtering through my eyelids. Instinctively, I shielded my eyes as they adjusted to the blinding brightness. I was sprawled on something hard, an unforgiving surface that pinched at my joints. Fear jolted through me, electrifying my senses as I turned to see where I was. The remnants of the cafe were a ghostly backdrop, hazy in the distance, as a void of nothingness surrounded me. I sat up, confusion mingling with a sort of disorientation that tugged at the threads of my consciousness. There was no sound, no life, only silence pressed down upon me, heavy and foreboding. "Lila?" My voice cracked, a weakness that belied the tempest of apprehension rising within. I strained to recall the moments before running, the shadowy figure, the brief surge of hope. A lurch in my gut told me that Lila was gone, and a cold pit began to form within. Just then, a figure materialized from the ash-gray mist that hung in the air. My heart leapt. It was Mia. I blinked, disbelieving, as she moved towards me, her features framed by the luminescence that poured around her. Amelia, oh God, you're awake. Her voice was a warm current amidst the frigid isolation. She pulled me upright, holding me tightly. I felt the famished ache of her worry seep into me. I thought we lost you. What happened? I stammered, needing to stitch together the fragments of my recollections. What about Lila? Mia stepped back, that familiar frown of uncertainty etching deeper into her brow. They took her. I couldn't stop them. Her eyes glistened with unshed tears, and every inhalation revealed the heavy weight of her guilt. They took her? The words tasted foreign and bitter, disbelief clawing at my throat. My mind raced. Lila was the anchor, the fortitude that held my roiling emotions at bay. Amelia, listen to me. We have to move, Mia urged, her hands clasping my shoulders, grounding me in the moment. Those figures, they're not just after you. They're after what you represent. We're in a deeper mess than we thought. They needed Lila out of the way, but why? What do they want? My voice wavered, echoing the tremors of desperation rippling through me. I overheard a conversation when we were running. I swear it wasn't all just chaos. MIA's gaze darted around, as if fear lurked just out of sight. They said something about a prophecy connected to you. It's not just about bloodlines, Amelia. It's something far bigger, something that could change everything. A swath of darkness threatened to consume me as I grappled for comprehension. Prophecy? The very concept had always seemed outlandish as I strolled through life trudging along the spectrum of ordinary. And yet, somehow, it felt as if this harrowing truth was the missing piece of my puzzling existence. How do you know this? I asked, desperation muddling my thoughts, only to be met with silence. Mia took a shuddering breath. I overheard them talk about your connection to Lila and how your existence held more power than anyone realized, especially the ones who came for you. They said some things shouldn't be allowed to come to pass. You are the key to unlocking the chaos. I stepped back, feeling the floor beneath me shift. Unlocking chaos? But I don't understand. A gust of cool wind swept over us, rustling through my thoughts as dread skittled through my veins once more. We have to find Lila before it's too late, I urged, summoning a resolve I didn't know I possessed. I can't do this without her. Mia's expression shifted, her determination igniting a spark in my chest. We will, she promised, firmness returning to her voice. But we need to be smart about this. We need allies, those who know what's happening and can help us navigate through this. We began to move through the mist-soaked landscape that seemed to pulse with a life of its own, our surroundings twisting and weaving like threads of fate. Our path led us deeper into the shadows, where flickers of memories morphed into whispers of possibility, each step reminding me of what Lila's sacrifice meant, of what we fought for. As we proceeded, something crackled in the distance, the air shifting as if alive. Glimmers of light danced in our peripheral vision, beckoning us closer. Tension flourished between us, and with every heartbeat, the weight of impending threats loomed closer. Stay alert, Mia murmured, her senses heightened, but before I could respond, an unsettling quiver ricocheted through the air. A pair of familiar faces emerged from the dark, equally surprised yet ready for whatever awaited them. It was Sarah and Jax, our old allies who had been missing during this tumult. My heart surged with a blend of hope and apprehension. Amelia. Sarah's voice rang clear, relief washing over her features. We need to talk. Things are worse than we thought. They're coming for you all, and they know what you can do. Lila. I gasped, desperation tight in my throat. Gone, Jax pressed, his expression grave. But we need to act now or risk losing everything. You need to understand whatever it is they want from you, it's only the beginning. We can't let them win. As we gathered in our makeshift circle, the dark weight of our reality cloaked us like a funeral shroud. The search for Lila had morphed into a mission of survival, but deep down, another thought clawed at me. A secret unearthed amidst the shadows whispered into the corners of my mind. Amelia, the truth isn't just the key, Sarah whispered, locking eyes with mine. It's a weapon and it's your choice on how to use it. Somewhere in that precarious murmur lingered a sliver of illumination, a flicker of hope that seemed within reach. As we stood together, taut with uncertainty and held by unyielding bonds, I felt the gravity of our fates pulling tighter, but the weight of that hope quickly dissipated as another figure stepped from the shadows. A chilling smile spread across their face, eyes filled with an old familiarity that turned my blood cold. "Hello, Amelia," they greeted, voice smooth and dripping with reminders of the past. "I think it's time for you to truly find out who you are," and as reality twisted around me yet again, I realized the truth I had been seeking might lead to my undoing. A heavy silence enveloped the group, a taut string pulled to its breaking point as I stared into the face of the unexpected intruder. Their presence warped the air around us, pinching my nerves and igniting a frisson of panic within. The familiar contours of their face flickered, memories long buried, shadows of laughter and anguish intermingled. "Max," I breathed, disbelief coloring my voice. "How is this possible?" The name slipped from my lips like a curse, a painful remnant of days long gone. Max stepped forward, pushing the edge of darkness aside as if it were a curtain. "Oh, Amelia, you've always had a way of searching for the impossible," they said, a smile teasing the corners of their lips, revealing a sincerity that felt anything but genuine. "But I assure you, I'm very real and am here to help you find Lila." I recoiled, a mixture of anger and confusion igniting within me. Trust had always been a fragile glass, the cracks around Max had splintered long ago. "Help? Is that what you call this betrayal?" "It's not betrayal if you've never truly understood the game we're playing," Max replied, tilting their head slightly, eyes glimmering with an unholy light. "You think this is just about rescuing your friend? No, sweet Amelia, it's so much deeper. Lila was just the beginning." MIA's grip on my arm tightened, grounding me amidst the storm of emotion swirling about. "What do you know?" she demanded, eyes narrowing. Max's gaze flickered to Mia, flickering with intrigue. "Oh, haven't you heard? Information is a currency more valuable than gold. And in this world, dear friends, the truth is the deadliest weapon." "Enough with the riddles," I shot back, feeling the heat of defiance surge through me. "If you know anything about Lila, tell us. We don't have time for your games." "Ah, the girl who thrives on urgency," Max chuckled, the sound chilling. "What if I told you that Lila's disappearance is all part of a larger scheme? A scheme that may reach deeper into your bloodline than you could ever imagine." A ripple of tension passed through the group, and the shadows around us seemed to lean in, curious to glean our reactions. My heart thrummed wildly. Max was back with a vengeance, but what was it truly seeking? "Stop playing with words, Max," Jax interjected, stepping forward. "What do you want from us?" "Quite simple," Max replied, crossing their arms in a gesture of mock contemplation. "I want you to embrace the chaos that is your heritage. To unlock the truth hidden within you. Your potential goes beyond your comprehension." "Heritage?" I echoed, my thoughts spiraling into confusion. For years, I had tried to suppress the peculiarities of my existence. The whispers of my origins had felt more like a curse than a gift. The prospect implied by Max filled me with a toxic cocktail of dread and curiosity. "Yes, your mother's lineage connects to a legacy, one forged in power and strife," Max stated, their voice smooth and eerie. "An identity that has been manipulated and fractured for generations, one that brings forth strength as well as chaos. But without Lila, you might never discover it. Is this some twisted way to get me to join you?" I retorted, my heart sinking at the thought. "Because I will never align with you, not after everything." Max shrugged, an elegant gesture of indifference. "Perhaps. But I didn't come here to fight you, Amelia. I came to warn you. The forces hunting you want more than just your life, they want to control it. And you think they won't come after you too?" I spat, lack of faith in Max's supposed intent lingering like a bitter aftertaste. "Ah, a clever observation," Max mused, a thrum of mirth beneath their calm facade. "But they fear me, just as they fear your awakening. And it is exactly that fear I'd like to manipulate in our favor." Something stirred deep within me, a flash of indignation mixed with a whiff of intrigue. "You say you want to protect us, to help us, yet how can we trust you with anything?" "Trust goes both ways," Max replied, leaning closer, conspiratorial. "But if you want Lila back, you'll need to consider all your options. The truth is rarely found along a straightforward path. And what you might discover about yourself could change everything. A chill washed over me as the implications sank in, but before I could respond, Mia caught my eye, her expression a mixture of caution and shared determination. The complexities of our situation tightened, swirling around us like a dark whirlpool. Amelia, we don't have time to deliberate, she urged, her voice firm yet tinged with softness. If we want to find Lila, we have to make a choice. We can't deny the depths of this anymore. Fine, I said, forcing the words out through the tension coiling around me. Well, listen. But the moment I sense treachery, then we'll deal with it when the time comes, Max replied, eyes sparkling with an unsettling excitement. Just remember, in this game, the truth is merely a starting point and the ramifications are often unimaginable. As ambiguity enveloped us, shadows shifted once more, darkness congealing in an oppressive shroud, whispering warnings through the still air. Just as we poised ourselves for the next move, a distant sound echoed through the dense night, the unmistakable cry of Lilith's voice, desperate and haunting, slicing through my determination like glass. Amelia. Every fiber of my being reacted, my heart leaping at the sound, entangled with newfound dread. It felt like a tether, an invisible line pulling me toward Lila, yet it was riddled with uncertainty. Hold on. I cried out, panic slicing through me. We're coming. But the echoes dimmed, leaving only the dreadful silence behind. Fear dripped into my veins as reality unraveled around me, my choice lingering like a phantom, continue down the murky path of uncertainty with Max or risk everything to save my friend. As we ventured deeper into the infinite darkness, I would soon learn the consequences of my next move and the truth behind who I truly was, waiting to be unearthed amid the chaos. The air grew thick with an unshakable tension, every breath I took laden with the weight of what lay ahead. The silence that followed Lila's cry twisted in my stomach, amplifying the distant echoes of despair. My heart hammered against my ribcage like a relentless drum, urging me to sprint towards the source of that haunting voice. A brief moment lingered as we shared uncertain glances. Mia's fierce resolve flickered, but I felt it radiating like a beacon. Her grip on my arm signaled that we were still tethered, united in our purpose despite the inexplicable darkness that loomed around us. Max, Mia called, her voice tiring to slice through the tension. Do you have any idea where Lila could be? Max's smile faded, replaced by a seriousness that felt almost foreign. If I did, I would have led you there already. The shadows are not benevolent. They shift and betray, lying to protect their secrets. We must be strategic. Strategic? I breathed, the word tasting bitter. I just want to find my friend. Then listen, Max replied, their expression softening slightly as they laid out their plan. Lila is not merely lost, she is a key. Someone knows something vital, and her absence poses a threat that ripples through the chaos. We need to gather information before making any rash moves. We must uncover the truth. Wait, how do you know all of this? Jax interrupted, skepticism etched into his features. What do you stand to gain from helping us? Max regarded him, a glimmer of something unreadable passing across their face. Knowledge is power, dear Jax. I'm not the only one invested in this game. A heavy silence fell between us, the unspoken truth looming like a specter. The tension coiling my insides began to manifest in my surroundings overhead. Branches twisted and danced in the wind, their sharp silhouettes casting intricate patterns against the moon's cold glow. Somewhere in the distance, a faint howl echoed, chilling me even further, like a warning. Let's move, I finally said, shaking off the ominous thoughts. With Mia leading the way, I followed, Max trailing behind us like a wraith, ever watchful. As we ventured into the encroaching darkness, memories of Lila flashed in my mind, the way her laughter brightened the dullest of days, how we shared secrets under the stars as if the universe existed solely for us. The thought that she might be in danger made my heart contract painfully, a desperate yearning fueling my steps. As we moved deeper into the woods, the trees closed in around us, and an unsettling sensation crept up my spine, as if unseen eyes were watching. Max remained a whisper behind, their presence both unnerving and oddly reassuring. I was disgusted by myself for considering trusting them in this moment, yet I couldn't help but feel that they held the keys to secrets I had yet to comprehend. About what you said earlier, Mia broke the silence, her voice hesitant but carrying an urgency that made me turn to her. About heritage, the chaos? What did you mean? I felt exposed under her gaze as if she had unearthed parts of me that remained cloaked in misunderstanding. What if Lila's disappearance is tied to who, or what I really am? I whispered, fearing the weight of the thought. The very idea felt like a riddle that could fracture my already chaotic world. There has to be more to it, Mia replied. This can't only be about you. Lila is missing. I snapped, frustration spilling out. We can't let ourselves get caught up in what might be when she could be in danger. Mia nodded, but worry creased her forehead. I know, but we must also be prepared for what we might discover about ourselves. If Max is right, we could have powers or legacies that connect us to this chaos, and we can't walk blindly into it. I exhaled sharply, the wind carrying my doubts away momentarily. Before I could respond, a rustle in the brush made us freeze, hearts racing, breaths held in anticipation. Shadows slinked closer, a tangle of dark figures materializing, poised to surround us. Stay back! I yelled, taking a step forward, adrenaline surging through me. But from the darkness, a figure stepped into the pale moonlight, this one familiar and distinct. Amelia. It was Lila's voice, breaking through the fear like a shard of light. A flood of relief and terror crashed over me. I rushed toward her, only to halt as my eyes adjusted to the sight before me. Lila stood there, wild-eyed and trembling, but what struck me the most was the aura that surrounded her, shimmering with an inexplicable energy emanating from deep within her. Faces emerged from the shadows, some recognizable, others shrouded in mystery, and then, as if time itself paused, Lila's eyes locked onto mine, brimming with urgency. They're coming for more than just me, Amelia. You don't understand. Your ancestry. The earth trembled beneath us as shock rolled through my veins. Suddenly, a flash of light erupted from her, casting strange silhouettes on the faces gathered around us, freezing any words I tried to utter. The intensity of her revelation hung heavy in the air, but before I could grasp its meaning, swirling figures emerged, engulfing her in shadow. Lila! I screamed, lunging toward her, but something fierce knocked me back. The world around me began to spiral into chaos. Max seized my arm, dragging me away from the encroaching figures. No. You can't go there, but I was already lost in the darkness, my heart racing with a surge of fear that felt insatiable. If I couldn't reach her now, would I ever again? As the shadows began to swallow us whole, I felt a cold realization settle within me. The game had only just begun, and that truth I so desperately sought might be more horrifying than anything I could ever imagine. The shadows coiled and swirled as I wrestled against the grip that Max had on my arm. The dim light flickered around us, revealing glimpses of haunted faces that flitted in and out of view as the dark surged forward. We can't leave her. I shouted, desperation clawing at my throat. No, listen. Max shouted back, tightening their grip enough to bring my focus back to their eyes, which twinkled with an urgency that felt almost alive. We can't let the shadows drag us into this. We don't know what they want with her or us. My heart hammered in my chest, every instinct urging me to break free and race toward Lila, yet something deep within very blood that coursed through my veins kept me tethered. As shadows drifted closer, I felt the familiar panic curling around me once more, but it was soon overshadowed by an unexpected flicker of fury that welled up inside. No. We know we have to fight for her. I yelled, but even my voice felt frail against the howls rising around us. Just moments ago, Lila had been so close, her urgency pulsing in the air like an electric charge. I could still hear her warning hanging, unfulfilled, in the void where she had stood, and those unspoken revelations drummed on my heart like a despairing mantra. Take a breath, Amelia. Mia's voice broke through my haze, her presence grounding me as she placed a hand on my shoulder. We have to think. What do we know about the shadows? I could feel Max's grip soften slightly, as though they too were caught in the swell of emotion that seemed to grip all of us. You need to remember that the shadows may have a reason for wanting her, but if we understand that reason, we can find Lila and break through. Max, what do you know that you're not telling us? Jax demanded, stepping closer with fierce eyes, challenging every piece of normalcy I had clung to. Why is Lila so important? What about this ancestry she mentioned? Max hesitated, a flicker of something sorrowful crossing their face before they responded. Lila possesses a rare gift. It's part of who you all are, it's tied to your legacies. But until we understand the foundation she's built upon, we won't grasp the weight of the secrets lying in this darkness. My heart sank, knowing the labyrinths of ancestry often held bittersweet truths and unquantifiable burden. What if? I hesitated, hope mingled with dread. What if she is the key to everything? Our powers exactly. Mia interjected, her eyes brightening. But we can't focus solely on ourselves. Whatever they're searching for, they'll stop at nothing to get it. If we're part of this chaos, Lila could be just as pivotal as we are. We need to break free of this fear. Suddenly, the ground beneath us trembled again. The shudders echoed deeper within me, reverberating through my core as shadows seemed to shift toward an ethereal sound, something wailing, strident, a call ringing through the air that felt both haunting and familiar. Did you hear that? I gasped, instinctively turning my gaze toward the source. The shadows seemed to pause, intrigued, as if even they possessed a sliver of curiosity fitted in their drapery. What is that? Jax asked, his voice sharpened with tension. It could be Lila. I felt a surge of determination coursing through me. It might be our way back to her. Not yet. Max warned, their grip now gripping both of my shoulders. Don't follow the sound blindly. It could be a trap, but it felt like the promise of hope calling out, resonating in harmony with my pulse. A strange warmth enveloped me as I took a step forward, pulled in by an invisible tether connected to my heart and soul. I couldn't shake the belief that Lila was waiting ready to share the truths I needed to grasp, but a higher force pushed against me. Amelia, Mia rasped, her eyes locked onto mine, we need you. Whatever happens, stay together. Before I could respond, shadows erupted from an unseen cloak of stillness, swirling faster than I could comprehend. Go! Max shouted, their voice buried in the chaos, pushing me toward Mia and Jax. The shadows were upon us in an instant. My feet stumbled as I struggled, but adrenaline surged, propelling me away from darkness and desperation. We wove together through the shifting void, arms interlinked as howls pierced the night around us. But just as madness unfurled, a sudden surge of light shimmered from where Lila had stood, breaking through the encroaching shadows with an intensity that made my chest constrict. The brilliance illuminated silhouettes. 100 figures stepped forward, their features obscured by the brilliance, but their intent was clear. And then, beneath the veil of glittering light, I caught a glimpse of Lilith's familiar features, her expression both resolute and terrified, a cry slipping from her lips that sent shivers down my spine. Amelia! It's not over. You have to. The ground shook violently, shaking loose urgency from every inch of my being. Lila's voice was swallowed by the dark as I reached out, arm extending toward her. The world felt as if it were spiraling, shadows rolling harshly toward me, the barrier threatening to swallow hope. I felt the light beaconing, but not here. Was something deeper lurking in my veins, threatening to fight against its brilliance. No! I screamed, the sound tearing from my throat, as I was forced to look away, pulled back into the engulfing swirl of shadows, my heart splintering with pieces of the unsaid. All I could do was grasp desperately at the fleeting image of Lila, her panic stark against the growing darkness, a truth poised at the edge of chaos just out of reach. And in that moment, the realization grasped my spirit. Whatever hidden legacy lay within us, it might just cost me everything. The air around us crackled with an intensity that pulsed through my veins. The standoff against the darkness held me in a twisted embrace, and all I could think was that I had to make a choice. I was caught in a tempest, and as reality warped and flickered like scattering embers, I felt an unrelenting force pulling at the innermost threads of my identity. Lilith's shout echoed in my mind, haunting like a specter I couldn't shake. You have to what? What did I have to do? Everything blurred together as my heart thudded like a war drum, echoing the chaos of the moment. Images of our shared childhood flashed through my memory, a sun-soaked landscape filled with laughter, secrets, and a bond that felt unbreakable. Yet now, with darkness looming, those memories were overshadowed by uncertainty. Amelia! Mia's voice broke through my thoughts, her eyes wide with urgency as she grabbed my arm again. Whatever is happening, we need to fight together. We can't give in to fear. Her words sank in like lifebuoys thrown to a drowning soul. In this moment, I couldn't allow the shadows to claim any more of us. I wouldn't let fear dictate how this would end. As if sensing my shift in resolve, the darkness surged forward, ethereal forms swirling into a tempest that demanded submission. "Hold on," Jax called, sensing my hesitation. "We're not losing anyone else today." With those words igniting a fire in my chest, I took a deep breath, inviting courage to settle over me like armor. In that moment, I made a choice not just to fight for Lila, but to reclaim the narrative of my own life. Whatever ancestral powers lay dormant within me, I would face them and not cower. "Together," I echoed back, my voice rising above the swirling shadows. "We won't let them take us." Pooling our resolve, I reached for MIA's hand and then Jax's, linking our united front. I could feel the burgeoning energy shift in the ground beneath us, a pulse of possibility tethering us to strength from one another. "Let's confront this darkness head-on." The shadows recoiled as if they felt the weight of our defiance. In a moment of synergy, we thrust forward together, the golden light emanating from within, a beacon in the oppressive void. The darkness hesitated, swirling and shifting, beset by our collective determination. And then I felt it smithing deep and primal awakening within me, an undercurrent that raced through my blood. A warmth ignited around my core, thrumming in sync with my heartbeat, filling me with clarity as colorful wisps of energy emanated from our hands, illuminating our path as we forged ahead. "Now!" Mia shouted, leading our charge as we advanced with unyielding purpose toward the shadowy figures that guarded the truth. As we thrust into the heart of it, the shadows contorted violently, their howls rising with desperation. But our light enveloped the darkness, illuminating a path that shimmered with potential. Lilith's voice echoed still, and if anything remained unspoken, it was just more fuel for the fire within me. "Amelia. They want to bind you to them. You were born to." With a sudden jolt, the world shifted again, and I was hurtling through blinding light. Every detail surrounding me was lost as echoes of Lilith's plea wrapped around my consciousness. But just as soon as it began, I was spit out into a new world, standing in a clearing that felt anchored in time, a breath away from places I never knew existed. "Where are we?" I gasped, looking at Mia and Jax, who looked just as bewildered. But there, at the center of this new reality, stood Lila, tethered to a glowing source that appeared ancient and imbued with power, her features crystal clear and bathed in shimmering light. The strength radiating from her was palpable, and suddenly everything clicked into place. "Lila!" I cried, relief flooding my senses. "Are you okay?" "I am now," she replied, her voice steady despite the chaos we had just crossed. "But we need to hurry, they'll be looking for us." Yet as I took a step closer, the ground shook again. Dark figures emerged from the shadows, and I could feel the dread creeping back into our space. But this time, it felt different, less suffocating. We wouldn't be standing merely to face fear, we would challenge it. "Keep close," I urged as the shimmering light pulsated around us. "We are stronger together." The shadows quivered, hesitant, almost fragile in light of our solidarity. In that very moment, with Lila at the helm, I felt an ancient energy awaken deep within me, a connection I had never fully understood, wrapping around all my insecurities as the very definition of who I was, collided with who I could become. "Unite your powers," Lila commanded, and without a second thought, we steeled against the rising darkness, allowing the flood of light to merge as our truest essence radiated outward. We summoned our energies together, drawing upon the legacy woven through our family that had been a ghost until now. With every breath, I felt the symphony of our souls coalesce, the warmth and strength of countless years pouring into this moment, pushing back against malevolence. We stood as one, bonded through every laugh, every tear, the love that had somehow always been there, transcending time and suffering. And then it happened. The shadows recoiled from the light, and we surged forward in one explosive wave, the blinding glow obliterating every hostile whisper that sought to engulf us. My heart soared as I realized the depth of our connections, the love that made us invincible. Lilith's essence swirled with ours, and together we projected the truth outward with force. The shadows shouted in angry dismay as they fragmented, scattering like ashes in the wind. "Keep going," I shouted as the figments of darkness shattered, liberating us from their grasp. "We are not prisoners of this legacy." In that breakthrough moment, I felt a rush, something I had never anticipated, the peace in knowing who we were, unbound by what the world expected us to be. We would reclaim our fate, owning every piece of light and dark intertwined in our existence, just as it was meant to be. As the last tendrils of darkness disintegrated, I caught Lilith's grateful smile, knowing our bond, forged in adversity, would now surpass anything we could have imagined. "This is just the beginning, Amelia," she whispered, hope glimmering in her eyes. "We pave our own path forward now." And as we stood together, bathed in the golden glow of our victory, I knew that love and courage would guide us through the shadows of the past, and together we would embrace the dawn of whatever awaited us next. The journey was only beginning, but it felt perfect. We would not merely seek power or control, we would learn to live alongside every fragment of our histories and write a new legacy, one forged in forgiveness, acceptance, and the unwavering bonds of family. Finally, knowing we were never alone again, I closed my eyes and whispered, "We'll face whatever comes next together."